show for all your latest UFC news and rumors. It's Brian Coyle. It's Sean Stanley. It's the TFM Live podcast. And it's now. It is Wednesday evening. A lot to get to here on the TFM Live podcast, brought to you by the FullMountMMA.com. I'm Sean Stanley, and as always, I bring in Brian Coyle. How you doing tonight, Brian?
I am buzzing, my friend. This is a week to remember. We've got UFC 203 Saturday night, which is turning out to be one of the most intriguing cards in recent memory. We have Conor McGregor posting a $1.6 million pay-per-view buy rates, reportedly, for 202, the highest in the history of mixed martial arts, the most ever by a wide margin over a professional wrestling pay-per-view, which I found out today via Dave Meltzer, which was the highest was 1.2 million. So McGregor's doing great. 203's got so much intrigue, and I mentioned wrestling because, of course, it features the debut of CM Punk. We've got the heavyweights clashing as rightful headliners. I mean, the NFL season starts tomorrow. Like, this is like Christmas to me. This is an absolute. I can't wait.
No, I agree with you. Except the only thing that messes it up, it's in Cleveland.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they may be. You never know. Maybe the city's turning around after the Cavaliers win the NBA title. Miocic goes out.
Miocic started it all. Let's just start it right there, though.
He's the guy because. Yeah. We have a lot of places to go. We're going to preview the entire card because it's fantastic up and down because it's got so many different like little storylines to kind of weave in and out of. Sean, we'll make our fight picks. I've got an updated list, as you can hear the paper turning at my microphone. You're up 19-7. You're 19-7 right now. I'm 13-13. So riding 500, just like the Los Angeles Rams will be this season under Jeff Fisher. And we like
just throwing all the jabs today, aren't we?
Oh, it's the NFL season. That's my other job, but not right now. This UFC card. Where do you want to begin? Do you want to begin with Punk and the absurdity and the awesomeness, the sideshowy circus fight that we have on here? We've got a rising bantamweight, Jimmy Rivera, who we've talked to on the FullMountMMA.com. You can find that. Just type in the search bar Jimmy Rivera on our website, theFullMountMMA.com. We had a great interview with him talking his big fight against Uriah Faber. People are forgetting Uriah Faber's on this card, by the way. So you've got a brawl with Jessica Andrade and JoJo Calderwood. Fabricio Verdum is on this card against Travis Brown as a late fill-in. Of course, we got the heavyweights, Stipe Miocic and Alistair Overeem. Where do you want to begin?
Well, I mean, should we start with what everybody else is talking about, or do we go off on our own little tangent?
Well, let's talk. Fine, let's go into Punk because this is the story of the week. It's overshadowing the main event, just strictly from a discussion standpoint.
Yeah. Because
we know what the main event's going to be. We know these are the two best heavyweights around. We think the third possibly being Verdum, who got, basically embarrassed because he didn't fight the way he normally fights at UFC 198, and he got dropped by Miocic. Rightfully so. Miocic played it perfectly, and that short-range power is absolutely ridiculous. But it's being overshadowed by the CM Punk debut against Mickey Gall, who won his lone UFC fight against Mike Jackson, part-time writer, part-time fighter, who is, no offense to him, a much better journalist than he is a fighter.
Oh, that's slow, man. That's slow.
He's a fantastic journalist. Don't get me wrong. But we have this thing. We have Mickey Gall, who, for all intents and purposes, only has 4 professional bouts under his resume and only 1 in the UFC. Like, this will be his 4th professional bout. He was found on Looking for a Fight, Dana White's reality show, right here in the wonderful state of New Jersey, which I reside in. And Gall's got, like, that we've seen, he's got that, like, killer instinct. Like, he hunts, he goes after guys, he's the aggressor. And then we've got CM Punk, who the only footage we have of CM Punk actually training He's been at Rufus Sports since the beginning, since this was announced back in December of 2014. It's been over a year and a half.
And let's not forget, too, he sporadically trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, too, while he was wrestling.
He had an interest in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and a relationship with the Gracie family.
Yes.
When it comes to so Punk had no, let's put it the way it is. Punk had really no athletic experience.
Yeah. No MMA fighting.
Competitive athletic experience, like in anything.
Yeah, but I mean, see, you get a little bit of shoot fighting in pro wrestling just because you got to know how to protect yourself.
Yes.
When somebody shoots on you. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying there. And plus, he's 37 years old, by the way. That's kind of getting skipped here.
Shoulder injury, herniated disc as well in this lead up to this fight. So he had a major shoulder injury that occurred in October of last year. Then he was finally healthy. Then they almost set the fight up. And then 3 days later, after he gets Gall as his opponent, I believe that was in February, he goes to undergo surgery for a herniated disc. So there were rumors he was supposed to fight at 199, at 200, at 202. Now we get him at 203. And watching him on the Evolution of Punk series, which if you can form two different opinions of CM Punk, whether you like him or you dislike him, regarding that whole thing, that final entry into the series, you see him triumphantly training, winning a practice bout. We don't know how much of that is how much camera work looked great, and if that choke was really locked, because that was one of the weirdest chokes I've ever seen without underhooks. It was unusual. I'm not the first one to point that out. Trust me, it's been pointed out by a lot of different people. These are two green mixed martial artists. Gall is only 24. He's only had a couple of fights. Punk has never fought before in mixed martial arts. The issue was raised, I found this very interesting, and it's been reported widely. It was first raised by Combat Sports Law, that a fighter seeking license in Ohio has to have 5 amateur bouts and a winning record in those contests. Gall and Punk do not fall under that category. Mm-hmm. However, a fighter may, quote, appeal to the executive director or to the commission to have this waived. Obviously, both were waived.
Imagine that.
This happen. But the thing that's been so bannered, talked about, and somebody asked Punk this in a media scrum prior to the fight this week, and he just shrugged it off like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And we all know CM Punk is a little bit prickly, and half of the time we don't know if he's healing up or that's legitimately his personality. You can like him, you can dislike him. That's the way he carries himself. So the quote, this was from the executive director, Bernie Perfetto of the Ohio Athletic Commission. CM Punk has a wrestling background similar to Brock Lesnar being permitted to fight in the past. Now, and he also stated there was also confidence in the matchmaker from the UFC and the bouts he had previously submitted in Ohio. This turned into like a meme because, as we know, Brock Lesnar, giant human being, heavyweight champion in amateur wrestling at Minnesota, All-American. He's had professional bouts before his debut in mixed martial arts. They're citing Lesnar when citing Punk. It's like it's like apples and roast beef sandwiches. Like this is not the same thing. I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. What's your reaction? Like, it just comes off looking really bad.
It looks really bad, but I think what happens is in Ohio they might consider pro wrestling under that banner.
That's what apparently it is. And they said it seriously.
It's just like, but I mean the same thing happens in is it Illinois? I think in Illinois too as well.
I go probably yeah.
Like to get a license there. I'm sorry, not in Illinois, in Missouri. It's that way. That's why a lot of cards happen on the Illinois side of the border, because you don't have to have a license to fight in Illinois. You do in Missouri. And when I was going up there it's a pretty strict little affidavit you have to fill out. I mean, it's not a thing, but I believe now that I'm thinking back on it, I think they mix it under one umbrella, which to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but
New York has a similar thing where like wrestling, professional wrestling, kind of falls under the umbrella of the state athletic commission. It's just a kind of a weird thing, and it was another thing that was kind of thrown out, and there's been a lot of different things thrown out about CM Punk's debut. And this is it's a sideshow. It's circus.
I mean, the only thing that can happen right now is for one of them to fail a drug test.
A failed drug test and injury. We're almost there. We're right there. We're right on the cusp.
It's got to be happening soon, at least today or tomorrow. Somebody will stub a toe or something and be out.
So I ask you this because despite there's awesome fights on this card, with much more technically skilled fighters. This is the third to last to go on. This features CM Punk. What do you think about this fight?
I mean, I kind of talked about it. Everything I've seen, look, I have nothing. CM Punk wanted to go into MMA. He left pro wrestling to go into MMA. He spent 2 years honing this craft. Is it enough? I don't think so.
I think
he's versing a guy. I mean, Mickey Gall. Look, he's only had so many. That guy looks.
He looks like a fighter.
He looks like a fighter compared to what I've seen of CM Punk. And again, are we seeing again? Look, they may be laying like, oh, this guy looks terrible on film, and then he comes out and he looks sharp. I don't know, but what I've seen is I haven't seen much of a fighter out of CM Punk.
We don't know. This is the thing. I can't write a TFM breakdown to put on the Full Mount MMA. I can't do it.
But we have seen Mickey Gall do it. That's why I think that's why I'm leaning toward Mickey Gall, because we've seen what he can do. We have no clue of what CM Punk can do. But then I'd go back to this because this is where it bit me in the butt with Dominic Cruz, because we hadn't seen him and he came out and he looked horrendous. But that is Dominic Cruz, not CM Punk. But again, it goes back to where, look, they could be doing a smoke screen on this. We don't know. I mean, look, you can make
Duke
cameras.
Rufus isn't a dumb guy.
No, cameras you can do whatever. I mean, there's some punches in there where, look, if I'm training this guy and some of those punches where he's throwing are legit, I don't know if I'm putting my name on this guy to send out to fight.
It legitimately looks like some of the worst sparring you've ever seen. This is coming from guys who watch the sport. We don't practice the sport. I wish I had time to spend in a gym.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could get to the gym, but I might roll over and not be able to get up.
So we're looking at this and trying to use all of our, we see the same stuff that the public can see when it comes to Punk. You can go to the gym and see how it goes. But when you see Duke Rufus's name, you see Anthony Pettis attached to this, you see Tyron Woodley attached to this. Yeah. This guy can't go out there and get knocked out in the first 5 seconds.
Or go out there and look like he has no clue of what's going on. And again,
he's a smart guy.
Somebody said it the other day, was he had to have gotten better just by being a punching dummy for some of these other guys in the gym.
By osmosis. literally just being there. Punk's a smart dude, and he took this challenge on for a reason. Now, is he going to win on Saturday? I don't think so. You don't think so. Is he going to get knocked out in 10 seconds? We don't think.
I don't think, but
we don't literally.
I don't know, but looking at what I just don't see other than him avoiding something in the first 10 seconds, I don't think it's going long, which is why I think UFC stacked this card.
Yeah, I always go back to this. One of my favorite fight adages: no one knows how somebody's going to react until they get punched in the face. Punk's going to get punched in the face by this kid. Is he going to be like, "I've made a terrible mistake," or is he going to come back at him? And his skills might be off, and we don't know what Gall's going to do. Is he going to try to strike him? Is he going to take him down? We don't know. Yeah. And this is why this fight is so intriguing.
Yeah, but we don't even know, can CM Punk take a punch?
We don't know the answer to that. He looks in much better shape. That we do know. When you looked at him in the professional wrestling ring, you're like, I mean,
well, you're bloated up for TV. I could be more. I mean, you're bloated up for TV. For that, you want to look.
No, but he didn't look in shape. He just looked like a dude.
No, but he did for what his gimmick was. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he was that heelish character. It was kind of but he had that wrestling build where he looked like a wrestler on TV. Not I take, for instance, when you look at some of these guys now that they get out there to fight, they're the enhancement talent, as they call it. Those guys don't even look like they belong there. CM Punk looked like he belonged there.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen. We're both picking Gall here because, I mean, if you want...
Just because.
Honestly, that's like...
No, it really is. I mean, you flip a coin. I mean, I just think the lack of experience for Punk and not being able to see him, I just can't think that he can make it happen, especially what I have seen or what they've let me see of what he has looked like.
And it's funny because... I'm watching Dan Hardy and John Gooden on the UFC's YouTube channel. They do a fantastic job doing the inside the octagon stuff for breaking down fights. I heavily recommend checking it out and doing that stuff. And they left this fight to the end of their breakdown when it comes to Miocic and Overeem and those guys, and like the last minute they spent on this fight. And you're looking at Dan Hardy, who's one of the brightest minds in mixed martial arts today, and Gooden, who's a fantastic commentator, and they're like, we don't know what the hell is going to happen. So, like, if those guys don't know, we don't know. The coaches don't know. Dana White has probably no idea. All we know probably is that CM Punk's going to come out to Cult of Personality. That's all I've gathered from that song being used at the end of his documentary series.
Yeah. Is there a chance it's a live performance?
That'd be sweet. I don't know when the last time those guys get together.
Yeah, no, that's true. I don't know. Yeah.
But and even then, like he swerved that question on the conference call, and he's like, I don't know. You'll have to tune in live. Like, Punk is this sarcastic.
Well, he knows how to play the game, though. He knows how to play that game.
And that's what he does. Mm-hmm. And he's this guy who acts like he doesn't like anybody. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. We don't know. And that's
there's one thing is like Channing Crowder was talking on the radio yesterday down here in South Florida.
Yes.
And they were talking about how
former Dolphins linebacker.
Yes, former Dolphins linebacker. Now he's on the radio down here. But he was talking about who was it? Arian Foster. He doesn't like talking to the media.
Oh, Arian Foster is
now the running back.
Notorious for being this kind of sarcastic, I'm more intelligent than you kind of personality to it.
Yep.
And that's just the way he comes off.
Yeah.
I mean, from all indications, I hear he's a good dude.
Yeah. But what he was saying was that he's been around long enough to know how to dictate an interview. You're not going to be able to get over on him. He's going to tell you what he wants to tell you, and he's going to let you know what he wants you to know, but you're not going to be able to get anything over on him because he's heard it all before. Same thing with CM Punk.
Yeah.
You're not going to get something out of him that he doesn't want to tell you. He's just going to be a wise ass about it, honestly. That's what he's going to do.
And then meanwhile, Mickey Gall is like, I want to talk to people. This is fun. Like, this is what we're supposed to do.
This could be his 15 minutes.
Bleep to each other. Like, and then Punk's like just looking at him like, this is not the way it goes, kid. So he may have the advantage from that standpoint. And Gall might rush in and try to do all these crazy things. It's like, I'm on the UFC. I'm fighting CM Punk. But
here's my question. What happens if
CM
Punk wins this? Mickey Gall's gone, right?
No, he said he has a multi-fight contract. I wrote, and he had a conference call, and I wrote an article that you see up on the website. He's got a multi-fight contract. Yeah, that question was asked. He said he's got a multi-fight.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that he's got to stick around. I mean, they can cut him.
I mean, they can do whatever they want because
I think if you lose to a guy that's never had a professional fight, I mean, I guess depending on how he loses or whatever, I just can't see that how do you
in a perfect world this thing goes 3 rounds and Punk wins via a decision that's not questionable.
And both men are bloodied and battered.
So there's no fixed accusations. I've seen that across the board. Like, I mean, this fight has literally every angle that you could imagine, and nobody's fought, which is I find insane.
Yeah.
So there's that. For the card, by the way.
Oh, but wait, there is more.
Oh, there's actually, more intriguing and relevant fights when it comes to just fights. So let's talk about that. Jessica Andrade, Jojo Calderwood, 6th and 7th ranked straw rates, respectively. This kicks off the card, and people, I'm telling you, this could be the best fight of the night. These two swing and swing hard. Andrade is a former bantamweight who's dropped down and looked fantastic. Like, she is relentless in her attacking and what she does and her striking and all that. And then Calderwood, we last saw her beating the crap out of Valerie Letourneau at flyweight. Mm-hmm. So this is a interesting fight at bantamweight. We saw Paige Van Zandt beat Beck Rawlings. Was it last week? All these things are blending together at this point. But so that is something to keep an eye on. The fight that I'm very interested in, I mean, I'm a little partial given the fact that I am from New Jersey and I see a fighter like Rivera. I got to talk to him. Jimmy Rivera, who's 19-1. He's won 18 fights in a row. This will be his 4th UFC fight. He's taking on Uriah Faber. Faber, of course, a legend in this business, has done it all except win the UFC bantamweight title. He's come up short every single time, including his last fight against Dominic Cruz. Faber's become the gatekeeper at 135. If you're good, you got to beat Faber, and then we can take you seriously.
But why?
Why?
Yeah, why? Why Faber?
Because he's a guy who's well respected enough throughout the UFC, where if you beat him, it's like, okay. Because bantamweight's got a lot of these young guns right now that I'm really it's a really exciting.
So why do they have to beat a guy like Faber? I don't understand why.
Because Jimmy Rivera can go into his next contract negotiation or next whatever and say, I beat Uriah Faber. Now, treat me like this, and I want this fight against John Lineker or Aljamain Sterling or Rafael Assunção. I mean,
I can see that, but I'm looking at and Faber's not even. He's the underdog in this fight. So what does it prove? I don't.
With good reason, because people have smartened up to the fact that Jimmy Rivera has won 18 fights in a row.
Yeah, no, I understand it, but that's where I'm going at with this whole thing. It's just like you can live off your name, but I don't get it. And I know Faber could probably walk in here and beat me in like 10 seconds.
Yes.
But what is it? I just don't get what he's done. What, besides being Uriah Faber, what has he done in the UFC?
I mean,
he's still living off his WEC days.
When you look at Faber, he's lost the big fights in the UFC. You're exactly right. He's lost to Renan Barão. He's lost to Frankie Edgar. He's lost to Dominic Cruz. He lost to Barão twice. He lost to Cruz twice. He's lost to Aldo. He's beaten Takei Mizugaki. If you want to go back to, that was in WEC. His UFC win total, you're looking at Eddie Vineland. You're looking at Uri Alcantara, Michael McDonald, Alex Caceres, Francisco Rivera, Frankie Saenz. So you're right. Faber hasn't beaten any of these big names. He's lost to Edgar, Cruz, and Barão and Aldo.
But yeah, here some young guy's got to make his name or whatever by beating Faber, who I know he's done a lot, and I understand he's for what he's done, but at this day, I don't understand how he's that gatekeeper.
He's marketable. People know him.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the answer to that question.
Yeah, because there's not many in that division, because I don't even think, besides Cruz in that division, who else are you marketing?
He's ranked number 2 in the all important UFC ranking.
Yeah.
Half the time, a load of BS.
Yeah, whatever. Just throw some names on the wall. See what sticks.
You're looking at Cody Garbrandt's probably going to fight Brian Caraway next. John Lineker's fighting John Dodson, and the ultimate small dudes, big fists, destroying each other. I believe that fight's in October sometime. Bantamweight's getting more and more fun. And who are you taking in that fight? You taking Rivera or you taking Faber?
I'm going with you, buddy. Rivera.
I'm taking Jimmy Rivera, man.
How can I go with Faber after I just did that?
Because it'd be the ultimate swerve.
Yeah. I said all that to say this.
Yes. So having said that, I'm taking you
Faber. So if I was putting money down, I may go with Faber, but I'm not putting money down. Ain't no way.
Fun fact, Betch Kohea is on this card as well.
Yes.
She's the Fox Sports 1 featured prelim, I believe, fighting Jessica Ai in a fight of 2 women who need a win badly. Betch Kohea also said today she would like to fight Chris Cyborg. If she has a death wish, sure. If you want to keep throwing tomato cans of Cyborg, go ahead, because we'll see her in a couple of weeks coming up.
Man, the Fight Pass has got 4 prelims on it, huh?
Yeah. CB Dalloway is on the early prelims for UFC Fight Pass, but moving up the card.
Oh, I read this wrong. I'm sorry. That is the Fox Sports 1 prelims.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I thought that was a Fight Pass. It's like there's 4 fights on the Fight Pass?
Fabricio we didn't even talk about the fact that Josh Barnett beat Andrei Arlovsky and Andrew Gustafsson won this weekend on Fight Pass. But that's because it was on Fight Pass. And we knew about it. We watched it. I really hope people got to watch it. But, Fight Pass only. Still, I don't know if that's the way to go. At least not yet when it comes to UFC broadcast. But
again, I think that should be the younger guys you're bringing up. That's where I think the Fight Pass should be at for those guys.
I mentioned Barnett and Arlovsky. Barnett beating Arlovsky to move on to the heavyweight division here. Fabricio Verdum and Travis Brown. Of course, this was supposed to be Verdum versus Big Bad Ben Rothwell. And I'm going to miss Rothwell's evil laugh regardless on this card.
I'm just going to miss him because now I have to watch Travis Brown.
A punching bag recently at heavyweight, Travis Brown. You segued beautifully in what I had to say. Fighting against Verdum. This is, of course, a rematch where Fabricio Verdum stopped Travis Brown in his tracks on the way up to a possible heavyweight title shot. Remember, Travis Brown, 18-4. This guy was on the warpath towards a heavyweight title shot, ran into Fabricio Verdum, then was no longer on any path because he split the 2 fights after that. And, he went through the war with Andrei Arlovsky, which it was probably one of the most fun first rounds that I've ever seen at UFC 187. Beat Brendan Schaub, who's no longer actively fighting. He beat Matt Mitrione in the worst win I've ever seen in a fight ever on that Boston card. Oh, my God, where Mitrione's eye blew up to the size of a baseball, and Mitrione is now applying his trade in Bellator and not looking very good doing it.
Well.
And then he got embarrassed by Cain Velasquez at UFC 200. So Brown is still with the critically acclaimed Glendale Fight Club, headed by Edmund Tarverdian, who rose to fame by being Ronda Rousey's trainer. And
Travis Brown's rising to fame for being Ronda Rousey's boyfriend.
Brown is such a talented heavyweight. He's got the ability. And I know you're throwing him under the bus, and we joke about it. Brown is a very talented fighter. Before his Verdum loss, you want to go through some of these names here. He went through Gabriel Gonzaga at his peak. He went through Overeem, who's fighting for the title. He beat Barnett. These were all first-round knockouts. So Brown had it. I don't know where it went, but he had it. And now he's looking at a fight where he can throw himself right back in the picture beating Verdum. I'd chalk up Verdum's loss to Miocic to a bit of overconfidence and the fact that he was not prepared for what Miocic had in store for him. I still think Verdum has the best all-around skill set in the heavyweight division. I don't think he's the best heavyweight right now. Obviously, with Miocic being the champion, but Verdum can beat you in a lot of ways, and unless Brown makes this a brawl, I don't see the way he beats him. What do you think? Jokes aside regarding Brown, how do you see this fight playing out? What does Verdum have to do? What does Brown have to do? I wrote a whole big thing that you can see on the site right now, but what do you think needs to be the game plan for both?
Brown's got to throw. You saw what happened with Miocic and Verdum, so nothing different. You just got to bully him. He's going to have to bully him, and believe it or not, I think he will, and I think Travis Brown will win this. You
think Travis Brown? That's the swerve I was hoping for. So you think why is it more of what Brown can do?
It's more what I saw Miocic do to Verdum, which is kind of what Brown's strengths are.
Being that bully, putting on the pressure.
Now Verdum could make me look real foolish by quickly doing what he does best. But I just think that
it is a 3-round fight, mind you, not a 5-round.
For me, Verdum's going to come out and be like, I need to make a statement to get back in this title picture, and I think he's going to leave himself open. And Travis Brown hasn't looked good. Let's call it what it is.
No.
And again, I don't think he thought Stipe. Again, we'll see if he learned from the Miocic fight, because if he comes in and takes Brown lightly, I think Brown can get a knockout.
I think we're going to see just the opposite here. I think we'll see a more focused Fabricio Verdum. It's not in Brazil. He's not enjoying the champion.
I remember
life.
you saying this
He's
about
not,
somebody else before, and it didn't go too well.
He's like, I mean, he did not fight after beating Cain Velasquez. He didn't fight for a long time. Remember, they were supposed to fight on that Super Bowl card. Mm-hmm. Then they canceled the card. So it's been like Verdum. From everything I've heard, from everything I've seen, he seems more focused. He knows he screwed up. Like, he knows he got dropped. He got embarrassed in front of a soccer stadium in his hometown. Yeah. So he's got to. When I watch him, I watched back that Cain Velasquez fight this week. Man, when Verdum is on, he's the perfect counterattacking fighter. And if Brown's going to push the pace, if Verdum can stick and move and jab and release and throw those knees and bait him and do these feints like he can do, and if he gets him on the ground, fight's going to be over very quickly. I mean, he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion. We're not talking Maya level, but we're talking extremely good. It's, to me, when I look at Fabricio Verdum, I think he's the better fighter, and he should win this fight. That's just what I put it together as. And I think that's the way it goes. Now, I mentioned it when you were talking. It's a 3-round fight, not a 5-round fight. So we're not managing cardio as much for going 3 rounds. These are heavyweights. There are the bigger dudes, big dudes, small gloves. We've talked about this. We have a 3 and out on it on the fullmountainmma.com. You can check it out, like why the heavyweight division is so chaotic nowadays. I think the 3-round fight works in Brown's benefit. Works in his favor because Verdum likes to kind of let his prey come to him. Like he's a Venus flytrap. He just waits for it to come in, and then bam, he closes shut. Now, is Brown going to come out swinging like a madman? Is that going to work, or is he going to have to be a little bit more cautious, knowing that the Viper can kind of strike at any time here? I find this. On paper, I think it's easy for me to just go out there logically, and I pick Verdum. But
no, I agree. But let me ask you this, because we were talking about how chaotic the heavyweight division is. How much chaos does it get put in if Brown beats Verdum?
I don't know who your number one contender. Like, regardless of who wins the main event, which we'll get to in just a couple minutes, you're looking at a heavyweight division. Cain, I think Cain Velasquez is your number one contender after this. Junior Dos Santos, Ben Rothwell. Remember, he Rothwell's asking for the winner of this fight because he had to pull out with a knee injury. Barnett's looked good. I mean, I don't know the next time we'll see Mark Hunt in a UFC octagon after the fire that he unleashed on the company after the Brock Lesnar ordeal. Arlovsky. Probably on his way out, you would think, but see, I think he can still win a fight and throw himself right back in.
And he's a name. He's a name that you keep there, I think.
I mean, and then you're going down the list.
But I think he's going to take on
Derek Lewis, Roy Nelson.
I was going to say, I think he takes on Lewis next.
I mean,
Arlovsky and Lewis.
Struve. Then you got Francis Ngannou, who we've seen on these cards, on these FS1 cards, is kind of like the kickoff, like heavyweight, and he's been dispatching people. Is he going to get a bigger name coming up? So heavyweight is so crazy. I think Velasquez is the guy next in line here, because when Cain's healthy, how good is Cain?
Real good.
So,
well, you saw it against Brown last time.
He looked like a tank. and I mean, and the fight previously, you go to Verdum.
Yeah.
And Mexico City, he didn't adjust for the altitude properly.
Supposedly. I don't know what happened there.
That's what it seems like, that what a lot of people blamed it on. And he was coming off a 2-year injury layoff. So if Cain's healthy, he's the guy. And we've talked, like, whether it's been Velasquez due to injury, Verdum due to overconfidence, Barnett, Tim like Brock Lesnar, you can go through the list. The heavyweight championship has not been defended more than twice, ever. Which, let's talk about the championship fight. Let's talk about Alistair Overeem, Stipe Miocic. Overeem's been a champion everywhere he's went except for the UFC. He's got over 86 competitive like combat sports fights. He's got over 50 mixed martial arts professional fights. He's been there. He's done it all. Miocic is 15-2. I mean, I remember when we started this website and our first initial podcast, you can probably go back and listen on our YouTube page. I was not impressed with Miocic at all. I'm like, why is this dude getting all this hype? And then he beats up Mark Hunt. Then he does a couple of different things. He knocks the crap out of Arlovsky. And then he goes and beats Verdum. And the more you watch Stipe Miocic, like, this guy is a heavyweight fighter. He can wrestle, and he's smart on the ground. And he doesn't take his wrestling and make it to like, oh, I got to submit this guy. He's willing to chip away. Like watching that Mark Hunt fight back, he's elbowing him for like a minute, not with these gigantic elbows trying to finish the fight, but chipping away at the life of Mark Hunt. And he's got to be careful because, man, Overeem has never looked better. Even when he beat Brock Lesnar, Overeem has never looked better in his career. Beating Arlovsky, the patient, the more cerebral Overeem. What's your take on this fight? Because I've been flipping on it 3 different times throughout the day.
Yeah, well, I mean, you talked about with Overeem, he switched over now to Jackson Wink, and
he's looked fantastic. I mean, there's a reason why that's the best gym in the world.
Yeah, but I think they've slowed him down. They've made him, again, when you start rushing, you leave yourself open. And one thing Overeem, kind of suffers into is that he's prone to getting that hit and then it's over. But he has not looked, any better. And he's coming into this fight against Miocic, who I don't think has looked any better.
So, what's your angle? Like, what do you think happens in the fight? What do you think it goes?
What I'm thinking is Miocic is going to have to push the pressure onto Overeem and try to make him, speed up his pace. Don't let him be methodical.
I'm completely with you on that. This is the way it goes.
And then he drops down the hands or whatever, comes rushing in, and you catch him, and then set it up.
And it was put. The way I like to put it is this: he's got to be in Overeem's face. You got to be careful, considering those knees can come out of nowhere.
Yeah, and the kicks to the legs, and I mean, you're going to take some punishment being in his face. How much punishment can Miocic take?
The way I look at it, it has to be a short distance. Overeem cannot be at like wind up, crane kick, liver kick distance.
Yep.
It's got to be a little bit closer. It can't be clinched though, because you got to worry about those knees.
Yep.
So you have to move, you have to split the difference, or you have to hit and circle and move,
which he could do because Miocic's got some boxing.
He is an exceptional boxer, and the wrestling, he can't overdo that either, or he's gonna shoot for one too many takedowns. He's gonna end up with Alistair Overeem's gonna be picking teeth out of his knee.
Yeah.
So he can't live on the ground. I think Miocic wins this by making it a 5-round fight, by drawing this one out and chipping away at Overeem. But then again, we saw the insane short-range power he has with the perfect timing against Verdum, where he just kind of stepped away, bam, like a 2-foot punch, and he's dropped him.
Yeah, see, what I think is going to happen is he's gonna do, the first couple rounds, he's going to win them, and then it's going to start forcing Overeem to pressure, and I think he's going to make a mistake. I don't think it's going to go to a decision. I think Miocic will stop him. I'll say in the third.
We always differ on the main events. This
How's that worked out for you?
See, there's another thing in this, and we mentioned it earlier in the show, the champion effect. And you love this effect more than anybody, so I'm going to flip it on you.
Yep.
It's also got a very interesting twist to it. The Cleveland effect, as I like to call it. Miocic was riding so high, bringing a title to Cleveland. That city's been desperate for some sort of sports success for how many years now? The Browns, people are talking about are they going to win a game? Like they're going like the Indians right now are great. The Cavs win the title. Like, is Miocic going to fall prey to like naturally what we had all like those feelings we all get when we succeed? It's like, yeah, I did something great. I want to enjoy this. And Overeem's had an extended camp. We knew he was going to be the next contender after he beat Arlovsky. He's been angling at that. He's been zoned in on this. And is Miocic a guy who's notorious for just keeping things light? Is he going to be able to? I mean, he's got the home crowd behind him. Is that a gift or a curse? We've seen it go both ways before. I think this is Miocic just really has to be careful. Now we've seen Overeem get his lights turned out quick too. Yeah, and I don't want to discount that possibility happening too. If Overeem can stay patient and utilize his variety and the fact that he's the closest thing you can get to emulating a Brock Lesnar like freak.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I just think that Miocic is gonna do some of his boxing, his sticking and moving, try to keep at that safe distance, and I think Overeem's gonna fall victim to that. Where look, I'm gonna have to press to do, and it's just gonna mess with his head. He's going to do something, and he's going to end up getting knocked out.
Yeah, it's how long can the Reem be patient? And that right hand from Miocic is so filthy. It's a weapon that cannot be stopped. And I'd love to see. I have no rooting interest in this fight. Both guys are terrific fighters, and I just want to watch two heavyweights who we think. I mean. We talked about how crazy this is. These are the two best guys, we think, right? I mean, Velasquez and Verdum kind of hovering. Yeah. These are the two best guys, and it's a very interesting stylistic matchup.
When this fight was signed, they were the two best, yes.
So you get the patient Overeem, and Miocic has a tendency to be patient. I want to see how he utilizes his wrestling because he can't go to that well too many times. And if he can get Overeem on the ground and he can kind of throw these elbows, Miocic's elbows are awesome as well. Mm-hmm. So if you can kind of just knock away at him and get him to that place where he's like, I have to go for something here. And if he's too far away from distance and he reaches and he gets caught, that's the way Miocic can do it. If not, we're looking at something. If you want to stand and trade from typical MMA distance, this has Overeem knocking out Miocic all over it. But if he can kind of close the gap and then close and then out, punch and then out, I think Miocic
stick and move.
It's such a cliche, but it's true, man.
No, it is. I mean, and I think that's what's gonna. And again, this is where I think though. This is where I have jumped back and forth on it many times here today, because. Just the way he's looked under this new training, and that corner's going to be there for him. You know, they're going to, again, he's got 5 minutes out on that mat in between. But if he can get to the corner get him calmed down. It's just if he doesn't make that mistake. And again, as you said, which Overeem do we get? Especially if he knows he's behind, does he try to pick up that pace, try to push it too much, and get caught?
Yeah, UFC 203, an incredible card put together, and there was a change in the way that cards will be put together coming in the UFC, at least by the end of 2016, as it was reported that veteran matchmaker Joe Silva will be leaving the company at the end by the end of 2016. Primarily, me being so new to the sport, only covering it for basically. Almost a couple years at this point, Sean, everything that I've seen, I can't speak from personal experience, but every person on all the respected guys on Twitter, these MMA journalists like Jonathan Stone from Bleacher Report, Jeremy Botter from Flow Combat, Ariel Hawani from MMA Fighting, MMA Junkie, all these outlets have had nothing but incredible things to say about Joe Silva, and a guy who people think he's only the dude who just picks two fighters, bam, they fight. No, there was a lot of stuff, and there's a reason why the UFC was sold for $4.4 billion, because it's such a low cost and he's been able to manage these contracts and create this fantastic product. So I want to give a shout out to him, man, because he's earned that nice Zuffa sale retirement bonus that he's likely got coming his way.
No, definitely. And I mean, on here, we've kind of, looked at some of the matchmaking and things like that at times, but I mean, you cannot say anything and question anything that happens. I mean, because all these fights turn out to be very entertaining, even though some of them that we think are going to be a little more lopsided than we thought. Like, why? How did they see that? And they turn out to be good because they know, what they're trying to do. They understand how it rolls and the punches and what they need, and they do very well. Because there's sometimes some of these fights I'm like, these styles are going to be so bad, and then it turns into probably one of the better fights on the card.
Yeah, and if you're on Twitter, of course, I mean, you're welcome to follow us at BCoyle11 for me, at SS Sports Talk for Sean. But there's a MMA GIF account, it's Grabaka Hitman, on Twitter, and he tweeted out some of the best Joe Silva reaction GIFs to fights. It brightened my day, Sean. It was wonderful to see somebody who puts together the fights get so excited about, like, oh my God, he just knocked him out, or it's just go through his timeline. It's fantastic. Grabaka Hitman on Twitter. It was just so fun to see. It's like, man, the people who put the people at the heart of the UFC. Like, we see the big figureheads and we see the big guys and we know the big names, but there's so many people that are part of the UFC that don't get the plaudits that they deserve and the credit that they deserve, that love this sport and make sure with a product that we see on TV and it just comes together. So we can sit in our chairs with our microphones and talk about this and talk about that and criticize all these people, but realize that these people are putting together an awesome product, and Joe Silva was at the heart.
And you know what that reaction is?
What?
4.2 billion.
Yeah. That's a lot of money. And the UFC is going to make a lot of money in New York City. Because I want to close out the show real quick. I know, Sean, you got to get out of here. But we've got our first fights for UFC 205 at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, I know you were happy.
Oh, this is fun. I mean, we've heard Rashad Evans, Tim Kennedy being targeted for that card, so we don't know where that's going to be. Tim Kennedy made a big political statement recently. I don't know if that's going to affect any standing. It shouldn't. But Kennedy Evans would be at middleweight. It was Rashad's was dropping down from light heavyweight. That was being targeted. Then we had a couple other fights, and before I get to the one that obviously I want to talk about, we have Thiago Alves, excuse me, and that's foreshadowing what I was going to say next, against Ali Quinta, New York's own, targeted for that fight. And then it's like the MMA gods came down from heaven and just gave us this beautiful brawl. Donald Cowboy Cerrone continues his path on welterweight against Robbie Lawler. Just soak it. Drink it in, man.
No, I love the fight, but I just, again, this is that matchmaking.
It's so
we were
awesome.
talking about it, but you look at it and you're like, wait, how did this fight, how?
How? Because Cowboys looked better than ever.
Yeah, he has. But
Lawler wants a quick turnaround.
Yeah, but
the UFC knows a guy. This is how it happens, and it's a fun fight. That's what it is. Lawler is coming off getting knocked out by Woodley.
Yep.
And he wanted to come back and fight right away. And Cowboy is the perfect guy to see. It's a major test for Cowboy at welterweight if he wants to continue going up. And it's a great person for Lawler fight because it's a big name. And if he beats Cowboy, it's like, oh, wow, he beat Cowboy Cerrone. He's been on tear. Let's throw him back into that title picture. I think it's perfect matchmaking. I can't argue with it. But go ahead and argue.
No, my thing is, though, is you look at all the fighters. Again, we talk about this top 10 list.
The rankings are all BS.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. You got all these rankings. You might as well just be like, look, here's 20 fighters in the division and just figure out who wants to fight. That's where I'm going at with this. That's where I'm looking at and going, okay, there could have been somebody else for Lawler, or because you could have Lawler fight somebody, Cerrone fight somebody. Now you got Lawler Cerrone, which I think is a great fight. Don't get me wrong, I'm loving it. I really am. But
it's 205. They need something. They need a crowd popper at MSG.
You're right.
That's
you're right.
one.
I mean, it makes it again. Matchmaking, it makes sense from the UFC business side. I understand that. Just to me, it doesn't make sense for all these fighters that fight in and out in that division, and now Cerrone, although he's looked tremendous, leapfrogs everybody to take on probably the number 2, number 3 ranked.
Lawler's ranked number 1. Cerrone's ranked number 7. So
Okay.
you're looking at Kelvin Gastelum, Johnny Hendricks, Condit, who we don't know if he's retiring after the Maia fight. Maia, who said he's fighting for the title next. That's it. Wonder Boy,
so.
and then the looming specter of GSP. Which
Wonder Boy or
206.
GSP is probably the next fight for.
Woodley.
Yeah, which will probably be GSP because he wants to fight money.
That's what I mean. I don't blame Tyron Woodley.
I don't blame one
That's
bit. I'm
that
just.
up.
I mean, I guess when you start looking at it that way, I guess yeah. I mean, I guess it doesn't make that whole lot of.
Yeah,
I might argue with Joe Silva.
Yeah, and this is I opened the show talking about Conor McGregor to close with this little nugget. Don't be surprised if we see more and more stuff about Alvarez McGregor, because it just seems like McGregor says he's fine. He wants to fight soon. Kavanaugh, his coach, wants his next fight to be at 155, not 145. I agree with Kavanaugh on that point. He's going to have to get rid of the belt because stop holding up the featherweight division.
Well, the best way to get rid of one belt is just to win another belt.
Yeah. So, and then you've got Eddie Alvarez, who has been upping his talk, his trash talking on McGregor. And as much as I think McGregor should take some time off, if you want to go to Madison Square Garden and put on a show, and then
Look at you.
please,
Why don't you let somebody else get some fights, man?
I want to see Cormier Johnson headline. That's me. That's my personal opinion. But don't be surprised if we see those guys. I mean, Coleman. I wouldn't. I don't even know. I honestly couldn't tell you at this point where they're going to go.
If they put
if
that
Dana
card
White's
on
not
there
all
and
about-
then Johnson card, I mean, that's looking bigger than 200.
if they did McGregor and then that light heavyweight fight, it is bigger than 200. 200 was just a number.
Yeah,
202 outsold it.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, but ultimately outsold it because of the whole incident with McGregor. I mean, let's call it what it is.
Yeah, and then the Jones stuff, and Lesnar brought in as many eyes as possible. So, and then we've got the looming Rousey return, who she popped up on a USADA drug testing list that she was tested out of competition for the first time in 6 months. So lots of winds of change blowing in the UFC. Will it bring us another new storyline with CM Punk? Will we have a new heavyweight champion the next time we talk? Lots of intriguing storylines to follow in the world of mixed martial arts, Sean. And is there anything else you wanted to get out? You got a pick for tomorrow night's NFL opener? Anything like that?
Definitely not the guy with the first start of his career.
Oh, you mean the pizza boy that's the that's quarterback in the Denver Broncos,
Yeah,
7th-round
that
pick,
guy.
Trevor Siemian, who put it beautifully on CBS Sports Network on Time to Shine by Adam Shine. That's not a plug for anything at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
His best attribute was location. Trevor Siemian was there, and now he's the starter for the Denver Broncos. So I'm picking Carolina. I'm guessing you're picking Carolina.
Yeah.
So NFL season, college football, it's a bad weekend. No ranked teams playing against each other. It's an awful weekend after a great first weekend. So settle in on Saturday night. Enjoy yourself some UFC 203. I want to thank Sean for joining me as always.
I want to thank you.
You can find us online, thefullmountmma.com, at thefullmount on Twitter, at bcoyle11, at SS Sports Talk on Twitter, facebook.com/thefullmountmma. You can find us on iTunes, subscribe to the podcast, TFM Live. Just type it right in. It'll come up if you get it on your new iPhone 7. I mean, I don't know how you'll listen without a headphone jack, but they got stereo speakers apparently. You rate us, review us.
Plugs all over the place today, aren't we?
Oh yeah, I'm on a roll today. Rate us, subscribe us, tell us what you like about the show, tell us what you don't like about the show, tweet at us, do all that stuff, get involved. We want to hear from you how to make the site the best possible site it can be. I'll have a preview of the main event of UFC 203 live on the site tomorrow. When you're hearing this, it might be, today, it'll probably be today because it'll be Thursday. We'll have the odds, the updated odds coming up on Friday for the fight card. So check out all of that good stuff.